Welcome back. Chapter 5 from week 3. The chapter introduces inventory accounting for the manufacturing and merchandising business models. We will introduce and discuss 4 cost flow methods that are allowed under GAAP, generally accepted accounting practices. Although the firm has a choice of methods, once a choice has been made, the firm is not allowed to change to a different method without a substantial reason. The cost flow method used has a large effect on the gross margin reported and therefore in the income statement. To begin with, the 4 cost flow methods are specific identification, first in, first out, last in, first out, and weighted average. The actual physical flow of goods may not match the accounting method used. This is fine as long as we're consistently using one accounting method. Goods usually move physically on a FIFO basis, meaning that the oldest inventory is generally sold first. An example to the contrary would be a pile of gravel, where the gravel on top of the pile is sold first, since it is the only material that is accessible. Since inventories often consist of identical goods purchased at different prices, we need a system to calculate the cost of goods sold to calculate the gross margin generated by each sale. We find that the last purchase of inventory usually costs more than that purchased earlier. This is a situation we call generally inflationary times, which we've had for a long, long time. The opposite would be deflationary environment characterized by generally falling prices, which does occur to time but is not generally very long lasting. Under the more common inflationary scenario, FIFO will show a lower cost of goods sold than a LIFO system. This is because we're counting the older, cheaper products first and the newer, higher priced goods after the earlier units have been used up. This has the effect of increasing the income reported, which in turn triggers higher current taxes. LIFO has the effect of reducing income and therefore taxes in the current accounting period. Take note that the taxes are not actually reduced, they're just delayed. Still, the temporary tax savings can be quite large and works sort of like a free loan of funds that can be used for working capital until the taxes become due at a later period. To really understand the differences, answer the Check Yourself Problem 5.2 found on page 256 in the yellow and green highlighted box. We generally contrast the FIFO and LIFO methods since they show the greatest differences. The weighted average method will show a cost that is between the two. The specific units method is neutral since we are tracking one item only. Note that using LIFO or weighted average methods can cause timing problems that are partially overcome by using a perpetual inventory system as opposed to a periodic system. This is an advanced discussion that, fortunately for us, is beyond the scope of this course. Final inventories are reported at either historical cost or actual market value, whichever is lower. Any losses due to damage, deterioration, obsolescence, theft, or price deflation is recognized during the current period. Inventory accounting presents an opportunity for fraud. The accounting system includes a number of tools and controls to help reduce this possibility. The author discusses some of these practices on pages 251 and 252. A fuller treatment of the subject fraud is presented to the auditing classes taught at IAU, but we will spend a little time on it in class as well, just to get a general idea of what are those controls. The Check Yourself Problem 5.3 on page 263 shows how a difference between physical count and estimated count can be recognized or ignored, and in this case it'll be ignored because it is not material. This issue of materiality or significance of Value involved is used throughout accounting. We tend to ignore things that are small enough not to matter in the bigger scheme of things, saying that they are immaterial. So, for instance, rounding off to the nearest dollar and ignoring the pennies, not a bad idea if you're dealing with a lot of money. If you're dealing with $1 or $2, oh my gosh, and if you're dealing with a 2-year-old, well, just give them the dollar. The discussion questions are a little bit longer than usual, but there is only one set, so the homework is about the same as it would be for 2 chapters. The remaining lessons will cover sometimes 2, sometimes 1 chapter for reading and problem solving. Generally, it'll be 2. Make sure that you copy lesson 3, hold that up for you, and bring that to class with you Friday night so that you can take a look at the learning objectives and the discussion questions involved. This week, of course, everything is just chapter 5. Looking forward to seeing you all. Hope we have a good time tonight. I'm sure we will. Take care and bye-bye.